welcome back to another episode of Presley's Pod. I almost started with like, okay, party people. And I just, that's not really our vibe. We're in bed, we're cozy. It's snowing in New York City. We're walking in a winter wonderland. No, it's okay. Christmas is over. Um, Wow. Okay. So I just got back from Puerto Vallarta. I was with my family. We're back in New York City. We're hitting the ground running with the new year. Next week's episode, I'm going to dive a little bit more into the vacation because I did something very specific to ensure that I had a good time on that vacation and I had the best time on that vacation. So I need to make sure that I share that with my 30 subscribers. and um yeah, so I only have two things to say about the vacation. First things first, I fly from New York City nonstop, baby, to Puerto Vallarta, okay? I land, I'm surrounded by a bunch of families and couples and customs, and it's just me, little old P, hanging out by herself. So I already have some trauma from flying in and out of Puerto Vallarta because last time my family went, I flew into LAX. If you listen to last week's episode, you can put the pieces together as to why I flew into LAX. And I'm standing there and we land in LAX and we're standing in the line. The man in front of me goes and he's talking to the people, showing his passport, whatever. All of a sudden, he starts putting his personal belongings on the counter and someone comes over, arrests him, and takes him away, fully arrested. And then they're like, next. And little old me walks up to the counter. Obviously, I'm still here, I'm fine. But so I was already like a little triggered going through the process. So I fill out my little card. I'm standing there by the glass counter. I give him the card. He asked me my flight number, the usual. Then this man looks at me and says, "Can I ask you a personal question?" And my heart rate just like skyrocketed. And I was like, no, yes, no. Is this a trick question? And so he motions for me to like come around the glass. So I go around to the side where we can talk privately in front of everyone. And he says, when you're telling someone same, do you say likewise or E too? And I was like, what? I didn't process anything he was saying because I was so nervous. I was asking, please, one more time, what? And he said, when you're saying same, do you say likewise or E too? And I took high school in Spanish, but I, I'm not fluent, but I also know that that's two completely different languages, okay? So I said, likewise, thinking, is this a test? Was I supposed to study to make it through this? And he said, okay. And then he said I could go. He forgot to give me this like little form that I was supposed to have. So I had to, find another link and scan the QR code to fill out the form. And then he just let me go. And then I landed back in New York City and I didn't show my passport to anyone. Literally, no one asked for my passport once. So, okay, here we go. And then the second thing that I want to tell you about the trip is I was telling, and this is a good segue into the rest of the episode. I was telling my sister, we were in the ocean, swimming around, enjoying a good time. I was telling my sister about a certain man, and all of a sudden, a wave smacks me in the face. And I said, is this a sign? Is this a good sign or a bad sign? We don't know. So, let's circle back to last year, aka 2025, aka only a month ago. Because here's the thing, sometimes I forget that people actually listen to this. My four friends and my parents only make up a third of the subscribers, okay? So there's still some other people that are listening to this. And I heard through the grapevine that I recorded the episode that said I downloaded Hinge, and then someone asked my mother, what happened to Presley's dates? We need to know. And I said, oh my gosh, I have fans. This is so exciting. So I am back on Hinge. I am on a dating app. Yay. I've been, hitting the town as we do, going on some dates, meeting some people. But something that I noticed, and I was talking to one of my friends about it, was I think now that I'm 26, I've kind of entered into a new territory when it comes to dating because I was going out with these men that are a little bit older than me, and they were really hitting the questions of, oh, do you want a family? When do you want to have kids? Do you see yourself moving out of the city? Do you see yourself having a home somewhere else? And I was like, whoa, 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 my guy. Okay, let's just pump the brakes a little bit, sirs, all the sirs. And I was wondering why that was happening because that's usually not in the past, that doesn't really come up. And I was talking to my friend about it, and I was like, this is very interesting that I'm getting all these questions. And she said, as they should. As they should be asking you those questions, like, especially if they're a little bit older than you, wouldn't you rather have that than the opposite? And I said, you know what? That is a good point. So yes, I'm navigating this new territory of people who are kind of starting to enter, I'm calling it serious land. I've entered serious land because I think people think, okay, the age gap between so and so and 26 isn't as bad as so and so and 24. Anyway, so been on some dates, met some people. There is one person that I've been on 4 or 5 dates with. And it's funny because he listened to the episode with Sean last week. He texted me that he um, had it on in the background, and I was like, background? Background? Foreground, babe. I should be front center on the TV. You're sitting on the couch taking notes. Just kidding. Anyway, so let's circle back to the end of December, I think it was. I am sitting there getting my nails done before I have a date with this guy. And I'm texting Lauren. We all know Lauren. We love Lauren. Texting Lauren, and I had had a very long day. I was tired. I was hungry, and I was getting my nails done. And I said, please, I'm about to crash out in the nail salon. Please hype me up so that I don't cancel this date. And every 5 minutes, I was like, Lauren, it's bad to cancel, right? And she was like, yes, you have to go. You got this. So I'm in the nail salon and I feel like I'm about to cry, but I'm also starving, but I'm also starting to get really angry. And the poor woman was probably like, does she not like her nails? I love them, obviously. But I was freaking out and I was just like, something just doesn't feel, I just feel so blah. As a female, we all know that feeling, right? So I'm walking out of the nail salon. I'm going on the date. I'm not going to cancel because now it's too late. Like if you can't, you can't do that to someone. So I'm walking out of the nail salon. I check my phone and I see 3 texts from a certain someone that just loves to come back around when they get a little inkling, something in the wind tells them that Presley's happy and very content with her life. They love to just come back around. I don't know if we remember an episode a while ago with Mr. CK. Again, same situation. We were literally sitting at a table holding hands while he was on a work call. And my phone pops up with 2 texts from this man. And we're not going to go into the details with this man, but So I see 3 texts from him. I leave the nail salon and I'm like this. I'm like, does he have people watching me? Is some like poor little intern associate? Is his job to track me? And so I'm like, there's no way that this timing just happened because the plan was leave the nail salon, shower, go. So I get the text and it says something about he's coming to see me at work on Friday. That's all it said. If you know my work, you could put 2 and 2 together. And I was like, okay, great. So let's segue into this real quick. Segue. New Year's comes. I end up at a bar that we used to go to, and we're texting, we're talking, etc. because it's like, okay, maybe are we gonna hang out? I don't know. Are we gonna like circle back again? So I get a text from him on New Year's from a grown man, okay? This text message says, my job is getting very big and very busy. If you want to see me, be a big girl and text me, and I'll make time for you. And immediately I was like, okay, well, I'm never doing that, so we'll never see each other ever again. Because I'm not like, I just can't physically bring myself to be like, hey, want to hang out? I just can't. So I said, I think it's like, okay, okay. And then, Friday came around, it came to whatever. Anyway, so that my mom always said that men truly have a sixth sense when they know that you're happy and things are going well. They're like, let's just see if we can mess this up. Anyway, so I go on the date and everything's fine, whatever. We're having a great time. Go on more dates with this man, great time, whatever. I agreed to go on a date with someone else, and this date really got me thinking, got the wheels turning a little bit on dynamics in a relationship. And during vacation, I was asking my entire family about their opinions because I was like, I need help. So, do you want to be the star, or not want to be? Are you the star and the other person isn't the star? Are they the star and you sit back and enjoy the show? Are you both stars? Could that work? Or are neither of you stars? Which that would be really sad. So someone needs to be the star, because I go on this date. We're having a great time. I start to notice that I'm the one that's kind of leading the conversation a little bit. I'm putting on a show. And by the end of the date, I was so exhausted. I was like, I could have hit record on my phone and sold this to Netflix and had a special, okay? So meanwhile, I'm telling these stories. We're bantering. This man is dying laughing. And I'm thinking in my head, he either thinks I'm insane or he's actually having a good time. And hopefully it's not insane. I mean, I think we're maybe going, I don't know. So, it kind of got me thinking about what dynamic I want. And I want to leave with this. I know this was a very quick episode, but I want to leave. I just needed to like recap 2025, finish 2025, and move on to 2026. So, something that my dad said while we were on vacation really stuck with me, because you meet this person right now, right? And you say, yep, perfect, they're my person, great. You have to ask yourself, what would a life with this person look like? You really have to widen, open your eyes, and almost fill in some of those like futuristic blanks of what is our daily life going to be like. Could we go on vacations? Could we buy something one day? Could we, money wise, all of those conversations that you're going to have with your partner. But you have to envision, what would life look like? And you also have to remember that you're going to get some curveballs. Something I said last week about how the finance men provide stability and yada, yada, yada. Finance people can also lose their jobs. So if you're with someone because you think that their job can provide you stability and money, things happen. Okay? Things happen in the world. So you need to ask yourself, especially for my girlies that are starting to like date and get serious with people that might have more money than you do, if he loses all of that money, if he loses the apartment, if he loses everything, would you still want to be with him? Are you going to be by his side as he's filing for unemployment? And is he going to be by your side when you're going through that as well? So I think next week we're going to dive a little bit more into the idea of 2026, new year, new intentions, because I had a very, not to sound so hippy dippy, a very transformative um vacation, and some things really came up for me. And so I'm excited to dive into that. And for anyone that is kind of the maybe the end of December wrapping up was crazy, and January for you is your break. For me, I love a new year. I love a fresh start. But I took a vacation at the beginning of January. Okay. So what are we going to do? I was eating, I was drinking. I was like, this is not the new year that I'm thinking of having. So for me, if anyone wants to join me, the new year starts on February 1st. And for the rest of January, we are planting the seeds and we are tying up all of the loose ends that we need to tie up to start successfully on February 1st. So I hope everyone has a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.